we are talking about one child, Eric, who is age 7. We stipulate that the parties were together at the time of birth. We stipulate that the dad was incarcerated for a period of months prior to the child's first birthday. And we stipulate there was a short period of reconciliation after that, but that the parents of the child have been separated and outside of a relationship for more than 4 years. We believe the evidence will show that my client went to the Attorney General's office in 2019 seeking assistance for child support. So we are asking for 4 years of retro per the statute. We are not going to ask for outside of that 4 years. We are asking that going forward, the retro 4 years, I believe that the testimony will be that for 2 of those 4 years, the father was either unemployed, underemployed, or employed at low wages. We would stipulate to $225 a month for the first 2 years of the 4-year retro. And then for the next 2 years of retro, the last 2 years in time, we believe that he has been employed and part owner by a company called The Vault 409 LLC. It is a shoe sales program, both new designer shoes, as well as resale, consignment, and such. We believe that the income will show that for 2022, this gentleman made somewhere around $150,000. And we believe that child support for the last 2 years, which is the second half of the 4-year retro, should be at no less than $600 per month. That would result in a judgment for arrears of approximately $19,800, somewhere right around $20,000. We are asking that beginning May 1st, the father pay child support consistent with guidelines. We believe guidelines are going to show that he makes about $156,000 a year. And he does apparently have another minor child. We are asking that the court allow the mother and order the mother to continue to maintain this child on Medicaid consistent with her income, and that the father be assessed whatever the court deems appropriate for that. As for possession and access, there is some dispute over this. It is my client's position, and the testimony will show that this child has not spent the night with the father, that the father has failed to disclose his address, that the father may be living with other individuals. We are asking that the father be afforded and awarded possession and access of first, third, fifth weekends year round from 6 on Friday to 6 on Sunday, and that the overnights, like 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., or what the court deems appropriate, be restricted to where the paternal grandparents live or where they physically are. We propose that schedule year round, so no additional summer possessions except by agreement. And we propose that for Thanksgiving, that the father be afforded Thanksgiving possession every year on Thanksgiving Day from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., restricted to the grandparents' house, and that for his Christmas possession, it be every year from December 24th at 8 p.m. until December 25th at 2 p.m., again restricted to the grandparents' house. For the better part of 7 years, this has been the schedule that the child is familiar with, the people that he is safe with, and will afford the father an opportunity to have a positive relationship with the child. Those are our requests before the court today, consistent with the state's pleadings.
Okay. Ms. Perazo, is there anything that you wish to add?
No, Your Honor.
Not. Ms. Overstreet, you are the petitioner, and you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to call Ms. Hooker. Can you state your name?
Krista Hooker.
And you are the mother of Eric Tyler Hernandez.
Yes.
And at the time that Eric was born, did Mr. Hernandez come to the hospital and sign some paperwork saying he was the child's father?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, if there's no objection, I'd like to ask the court to enter into evidence the acknowledgement of paternity in this case.
No objection.
No objection.
State's Exhibit A is admitted into evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Hooker, what county do you live in?
Jefferson County.
And what county, if you know, does Mr. Hernandez live in?
I believe somewhere in Jefferson County. Beaumont? Yeah, Jefferson County.
Okay. And is Mr. Hernandez a good father?
He tries when he wants to.
Does he see the child very often?
As I know, he sees the child when he goes to his grandparents' house. I don't know
And-
if it's the whole weekend, but I know he does see him. Or at
Okay.
least talk.
And how often is the child, when you say the grandparents' child house, are you talking about his parent, Mr. Hernandez's parents? How
Yes,
often
ma'am.
is the child going to Mr. Hernandez's parents?
He goes to his parents every other weekend
Okay. And how long has that been occurring?
since we've broken up. About how long? Since like past 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, however long we've been broken up.
Okay. In that time, has he ever come and picked the child up and taken him to his own house?
From me, he has never picked him up from me and took him to his house.
Okay. Now, do you have any safety concerns or issues with your address being in this court order?
For me, no.
Okay. And now, how's the child currently covered for insurance?
Medicaid.
And do you have any personal knowledge at all about Mr. Hernandez's income, or would he be the best person to ask that?
You would have to ask him on that.
Okay. Now, y'all been separated, you said, for at least the last 4 years?
Yeah, more than that.
Okay. But for the last 4 years, has Mr. Hernandez helped you financially with the child?
Yes, he has.
Could you estimate how much in cash or checks or anything he has given you for the child?
For the past 4 years,
Yes.
he's given me about maybe $4,000 or $5,000 in the past 4 years.
Okay. And Your Honor, I have nothing further of this witness. Pass the witness.
Ms. Shipley, your witness.
Has there been weekends that this child was at the grandparents' house and you know that Mr. Hernandez has not bothered to come see the child?
I'm sorry, can you say it again?
Sure.
I'm
Has
sorry.
there been weekends where your child did not see his dad, even though the child was over at the grandparents?
Yes,
And is it your understanding that the child sleeps at the grandparents' house on those weekends?
yes.
And have you and Mr. Hernandez ever talked about the child spending the night at Mr. Hernandez's house?
He's asked me one time if Eric can sleep at his house.
And how long ago was that?
To be fair, I believe it was a couple months ago.
Okay. And other than that one time at wherever he's living, has the child always stayed at the grandparents' house?
Yes,
And does your child appear to be comfortable and safe at the grandparents' house?
yes. He has his own room.
He has his own room there.
Yes.
Okay. And do you know where Mr. Hernandez lives?
No,
Has Mr. Hernandez told you, have you asked him?
yes.
And what did he tell you?
He said his parents doesn't even know where he lives.
Okay, you have to speak
I
up
didn't-
just a little
Yeah,
bit.
I didn't hear what she said.
Oh, sorry. He said that his parents doesn't even know where he lives.
So it's secret
Yes,
and that he didn't even tell his parents?
no.
Does that cause you concern that he's living that kind of lifestyle?
Yes, I need to know where my son is, especially at nighttime, because you never know what can happen and I need to go get my son. And for me to not know where he's at all times, it's a very safety concerned issue for me because I need to know exactly where he's at and what he's doing,
So,
especially at nighttime, because you never know in this crazy world.
and so specifically speaking, does Mr. Hernandez have a criminal history?
Yes,
And have you ever known Mr. Hernandez in the past, not current, to distribute narcotics?
yes,
And does that cause you concern if he's running off with him?
yes.
Now, you're not alleging he's doing it now. You don't know,
No,
do you?
no, I don't know. I don't.
But that concerns you.
Yes,
Do you believe the possession schedule that I listed out is consistent with what y'all have done?
yes,
Do you believe that if Mr. Hernandez gave you the address and the child went over there for some daytime visits and then progressed up to spending the night, y'all would be able to work that out progressively?
yes, because that's what was stated before we even did the whole court thing. I told him if he can be consistent, his son's life, call him, text him, hey, how are you doing? Let's go get some ice cream. Anything, as long as I see that you're trying to be a part of my son's life, instead of coming in and out whenever you feel like it and hurting my son's feelings, then yes, I would be okay with you taking your son whenever you want to, or taking your son to sleep at night. But I just want you not to hurt my son's feelings, because you have in the past, when he's waiting for you to call him, waiting for you to, when's my dad coming to get me? Or my dad says he's gonna come and get me and you never show up. Then I feel like the bad guy because I have to make up a story for you and you're always the good guy.
Okay,
And you can ask your son about that.
so the grandparents have picked up the slack, correct?
Yes,
And is the child well bonded with the grandparents?
yes,
And are they dependable?
yes.
You don't want to keep him from his family, do you?
No, I don't.
How does the child, on the weekends that the child does go to the grandparents, what time does dad pick the child up to take him over there? Does he ever pick him up?
No, he's never picked him up from me.
He's never picked him up from
No,
you.
never picked him up from me.
And what time do the grandparents pick the child up on Fridays?
If they can't pick him up from school, then I'll pick him up and I'll drop him off around 6 or 7.
Okay, is it more common that you're driving the child to the grandparents' house and dropping the child off than anybody coming to pick him up?
Yes, depending on my work schedule.
Okay,
when
and
I'm working.
you've done that for your child all this time,
Yeah,
and you've worked it out with those grandparents.
yes,
Okay, you understand that this court order is subject to change as long as it's been 12 months, right?
yes,
And so if this visitation goes well under what you've proposed, you understand that as your son gets older, you're probably going to go back to court and it's going to become more normal.
Yeah.
And you actually want that to happen if
Yes.
dad will step up.
I want him to have a relationship with dad. I'm not trying to stop him from having a relationship. I just want I'm just concerned about safety and I want him to be consistent with his son.
And are you asking this court to enter that order because you think it's necessary for the safety of the child?
I'm sorry?
Or do you think it's necessary for the court to enter the possession schedule like you said for the safety of the child?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
Your witness, Ms. Peraza.
I have no questions of this witness.
You have any other questions, Ms. Overstreet?
No, Your Honor.
Call your next witness, Ms. Overstreet.
I'd like to call Mr. Hernandez. Can you state your name, please?
Eric Hernandez.
And you are the father of Eric Tyler Hernandez.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what county do you live in?
Jefferson.
Do you have any safety concerns with your address being in this court order?
Yes, ma'am.
and can you tell the court what concerns you have that if anything that's occurred in the last 2 years?
Oh, well, in the last 2 years, it's been a lot more calmer, but you know, past that, it was real issues that she was breaking windows. They jumped my girlfriend.
An objection, Your Honor, to anything that has not occurred within the last 2 years.
Well, so
Do you have has anything happened in the last 2 years that you feel would be a safety concern if your address was not in this court order?
no,
Okay. Now you heard Ms. Hooker discuss the visitation arrangement that has occurred over the last few years. Is that your understanding of how the visitation has been occurring?
yes, ma'am, and some of it is true, some of it isn't true.
Okay, what visitation, how would you like the visitation to be different than what was proposed and what has been occurring in the last 2 years, or since you and Ms. Hooker separated?
So the last 2 years, or the last, we're going back the last two, what? So we're going back to since we broke up, or the last 2 years?
Just the last, just tell the court how you would like the visitation to be different than what it's been.
I mean, as far as me, I would feel that in order for me to grow that better bond with my son, I mean, I feel that I need to be able to have him on the weekends and stuff like that. I mean, the only reason why that I wasn't in his life the way that I'm supposed to be in his life was because the past history of the mother and the situation of what we had going on. But all that is set to the side because I look forward to being there for my son. I've been there trying to be there for my son. Anytime that my son needs anything, I provide for my son. It's never that, my son needs this and I don't do for him. Like, I don't see that. I don't do for my son. I mean, she says that, she has to try to explain to my son that I'm never there. She doesn't know. Like she said, she just drops
Mr.
him off
Hernandez?
and she
Mr.
goes
Hernandez.
about her own business.
Mr. Hernandez,
Yes, ma'am. I mean, yes, sir.
the question is, what type of visitation do you want with your son?
So
I don't need the history. Just
okay.
tell me what it is you want, what you want me to do in regards to your contact rights with your son.
I mean, I would just prefer the standard visitation.
Ask your next question, Ms. Overstreet. Please try to be more specific.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, do you have any other children under the age of 18 besides this child?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many?
But one, that is like mine, blood, you know.
Okay, and does that child live with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now, you currently own or co-own a business known as the Vault 409, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you provided us the tax return for that business for 2022, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to ask the court to, if you would put the 2022 tax return on the screen.
No.
It's not the tax return. I believe it's just a K-1. If there's a tax return, I don't have that.
Well, it was sent to Brennan by
Yes,
Lori.
You're talking, okay, so hold
The
on.
last hearing
Hold
we
on.
had.
So what I have that has been sent to me is a 2022 U.S. return of partnership income. Is that your referring?
Correct.
I'm not putting that. First, Ms. Shipley, have you been provided a copy of this document?
Let me check and make sure the partnership return is what I have here.
That's
Okay.
what I have. U.S. return of partnership income. That's what I've been.
Correct. Correct.
Is that what you're referring to, Ms. Overstreet?
Yes. It was titled tax return, and when I sent it to you.
I understand. But that's not what the
Okay.
actual document is titled.
Right. I'm sorry. Can you put that on the screen?
Not yet.
Okay.
I want to see.
Is
wanna
it,
see-
is it a Form 3520?
No, it's
I'm
a
gonna
form.
send
it's
it
a-
to you again,
It's the
Jolie.
form 1065, Ms. Shipley. Y'all listen, I'm live on the internet. I do not like putting people's income live out there for anybody to see. It includes social security numbers. It includes,
Okay,
certain business information that may not want to be public. So if y'all haven't seen it and y'all don't see it, then yes, I will put it live on the internet, but I try to do everything I can to keep people's information safe as much as I can.
I do have a Form 1065 Schedule
what it is.
K1.
That's
I
what I
do
have.
have that 2-page document.
That's what I have. It is a 2-page document.
They're just all
Okay,
very
I-
confusing. Thank you.
No problem. Ms. Peraza,
Okay,
I'm assuming you have that?
Yes, sir, but I actually emailed the tax return to Dana and Brennan at our last hearing. I can resend it again, though.
what you sent us was this partnership agreement or partnership. That's what I got, what we got from you. It says filing checklist for tax returns up at the top on the first page, but it's actually a U.S. return of partnership income, Form 1065.
It should be several pages.
I mean, the one that I'm looking at is just 2 pages. It's the Schedule K1 Form 1065 for 2022.
Well, that's not,
No, I sent,
That was one of the things. The
Right.
next thing I think we all have is titled a Form 3520, which
And you-
appears to be appears to be 7 pages.
and you know what, Judge?
I also
When-
have
when I-
that one. I have that one as well.
When you sent me back and said that the emails were too large,
Mhm,
and I sent you back 2 emails, was it
mhm.
not included in one of those 2 emails?
Ms. Overstreet, it doesn't make any difference what you may or may not have put. I'm showing you what I have. I have
Okay,
the 1065, the Form 1065, which is the full
Yeah, that's the
complete
one.
income tax return.
but
Okay,
I.
and then I have the
Yeah.
K, which is just the Schedule K, which is the 2 pages.
Hmm.
So which would you like me to look at, Ms. Overstreet?
okay. Well, I just sent you the one that I have that's 27 pages. And apparently you don't have
That's what
that one.
I'm looking, I have that one.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said it only had 2 pages. I misunderstood you.
The K1 schedule only has 2 pages.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
It may be
totally
a better idea,
misunderstood
Ms.
what you were
Overstreet,
saying.
in the future, if you actually, title the documents that you send me, so it makes it easier for me to, but I mean, that's just how Zoom works, and sometimes we do have difficulty.
Okay, if you can show page 7 or Schedule K of that,
Is this
Income
the income,
return.
is this the income tax return, Ms. Overstreet, that you wish me to see?
yes. And if you can show,
That's okay, it's too late now. Ms. Shipley, do you have any objection to this document?
No objections to that document.
Ms. Peraza, do you have any objections to this document?
No, sir.
States Exhibit B is admitted into evidence.
thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Hernandez, on Schedule K of the partners distributive share items, under self-employment 14A, it says net earnings is $81,425. Gross non-farm income is $232,636. Now, you share this company with one other partner, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's 50-50?
Yes, ma'am.
And this document says that y'all's income was the 81,425 plus the 232,636 after everything was deducted. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay, so half of your income would be, or half of that would be your income. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, how long has the vault been open?
2 years.
Y'all didn't open this in 2019?
Yes, 2019, 2020, one of the two. I think it's 2020.
Okay. Have y'all been making approximately the same amount since it opened?
No, ma'am, we had experienced COVID.
Okay,
We opened around COVID time, so it was a kind of a bad.
so your first year that you opened, how much do you think you made?
Like me personal,
No, the company.
to be honest, I'm not sure.
Okay. And did you do taxes for that year?
I believe so.
You don't know how much y'all did, y'all claimed for taxes for that year?
I could possibly see right quick.
I'm gonna object to him using a document for a prior year tax return as evidence that he's referring to that was not produced.
Thing.
And so Mr. Hernandez, on page 4 of the document, it does say the business started October 9th, 2019. Does that sound about right?
Of October, it might have, like, the LLC might have been like created or whatever, but we weren't opening business until like February or March of 2020, I believe.
Okay. Did you do your own personal taxes for 2020?
No, did like me, my personal behalf?
Your personal income taxes?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what your gross was for that year?
Maybe like 17 or something. I'm not 100%.
When you say 17, do you mean 17,000?
17, yes, ma'am. I believe so. Maybe. I'm not 100%.
And is there some reason you didn't provide us with your information for that year?
Because when at first I was asked to get my
It doesn't
bank
matter,
statement.
Mr. Hernandez. Did
Oh.
you file a motion, Ms. Overstreet, to force production of that?
No, Your Honor.
And don't complain about it now. Thank you.
Were you working, where were you working before you started working for the vault?
At first I really wasn't working. I was going through a little process of trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life, and I really wasn't working. If I did, I'd work maybe just a little part-time job, but I worked at Lids for a couple of months, like maybe 3 months, 4.
And how much were you making then?
I was
At
making I believe minimum wage.
Okay. And so in 2019, you were at least capable of making minimum wage and working 40 hours a week?
I was more of a like a part-time, I guess you could say. I ain't work like every day.
But you could have physically, correct?
I could have, if they put me on the schedule.
But you could have found another job that paid 40 hours, minimum wage, 40 hours a week.
If they were hired.
Now for 2021, did you file income tax returns?
I believe, yes.
And was the company making about the same amount in 2021 as it did in 2022?
No, this year was actually our best year.
How much did y'all make as a company profit in 2021?
Profit, I'm not sure. No. I don't. My business partner, he really deals with all that part of the side, and he deals with the I guess the CPN guy.
Do you recall how much you brought home every month in 2021?
What I was just doing, $500 every 2 weeks, $500 every week.
So you're telling this court that you are part owner of a company that last year made over $200,000 and you take home $500 a week?
You worry revenue and everything into the business to keep the business going. We don't make much profit off shoes. Some shoes we don't actually physically own.
I have nothing further, Your Honor. Pass the witness.
Your witness, Ms. Shipley.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Hernandez, your shoe business, where is the physical location?
Parkdale Mall.
And how much is your monthly rent for your spot at Parkdale Mall?
I believe it fluctuates between the months of January through March, I believe, or April. It is 1,800, and then from March, April, May, June to what is it? June, July, August, September. To June to basically December-ish, it fluctuates to 22 for the holidays, and then we give them what is it, a commission fee, I guess, of if we make a certain amount, we have to give them 10% overcharge or something.
And how often do y'all make that much that you're paying that overcharge?
I mean, the number is like what, I guess 10 grand, and then if we make over 10 grand, we have to give them a 10% or something like that.
How often do y'all make over 10 grand profit per month?
I mean, I don't say it's profit. I mean, they look at it just number wise. They don't care if it's profit or not.
So how often do y'all pay that?
I guess almost every month or every other month, at least. It all depends on the months. Like I said, sometimes it's back to school, so money can be better.
What's the percentage you pay of the what's the percentage you pay of the overage?
Like to the mall?
Yes.
Like 10%. Either 10% or 15%, one of the two.
Okay, so if you made 461,000 last year, and $10,000 a month would be 120,000 for the year, then you have an overage of $341,000 for the year, correct?
No.
Yes. It'd be
No,
$341,000.
you're not looking at employees, you're not looking at payouts that I have to pay everybody.
No, I'm looking at your gross sales.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all looking at the big number that it said that I made 300 or something in sales, gross sales. But that doesn't say that, okay, I still had to pay out this person $5 grand.
No, sir.
For
Stop.
1 week.
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustained.
Sir, if you will just listen to my question and don't try to guess where I'm going, I'm just trying to get the facts out for the judge, okay? I'm simply talking about what you pay for rent to Parkdale Mall. You told us a minute ago that they charge you based upon whatever you sell, not your profit, but whatever you sell, correct?
What? Now my words are being.
Okay, they say
we pay our monthly rent of the 1,500 or the 18 to 22, all depending on the month and the time frame it is. If it's the slow months, which it's not holidays, our fees are if it's the holidays, it's 2,200 a month. And if it's not the holidays, it's between 15 and 18. If it's the slower months, it's the 1,500 a month. And then on top, if we make over 10 grand, then we have to pay the fee.
Okay, so let's just average the 12 months at $2,000 a month. That'd be $24,000 you're paying for rent before you pay the extra fee, right? It's about an average of $2,000 a month. Right?
Okay.
So that's $24,000 a year you pay for standard rent before you pay the fee, right?
Okay.
Now, when you have to pay the fee, it's because you made more than you brought in, not worried about expenses, you brought in more than $10,000 in sales that month. right?
Okay.
So $10,000 a month. $10,000 a month would be $120,000 a year. Right?
Okay.
So if you made 461,000 in a year, that's what your tax return says, and you deduct the 120,000 you're allowed to make without a penalty, and you take the remainder and you times it by 10%, you're telling this court you paid about another $34,000 to Parkdale Mall to do business in that mall, right?
Okay.
Correct?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know the
What-
exact number of overage I done paid them. They have all the numbers.
Okay, but you're a partner. You had access to those numbers, right?
Yeah, but I'm not just sitting here looking into all this. I'm just paying my rent. And if they say that, okay, look, this is your overage fee, then okay, I pay my overage fee.
So if they're ripping you off, you're not checking it?
How am I not checking it? Like if it's saying that they owe me this, if I owe this, and then this is the overage, I have to report the numbers in, not me physically. My partner reports the numbers in physically
Okay,
every month.
so I would purport it, and that's the only place y'all have a business. The only place you pay rent is Parkdale Mall, right?
We were paying in Katy as well, but that location is being closed down.
How much were you paying Acadia?
That one, I'm not sure. That
Where's-
one,
Where's Acadia?
Okay.
Katy Mills Mall,
Okay, how much were you paying Katie Mills? You don't know?
like 45 or 5K, something like that. I'm not sure. I wasn't out there.
What months did you pay that?
I wasn't there playing it. Like I said, I don't know how much it was there physically. I don't know.
So if your
My
partner really did
business
a,
partner went and did that part. I'm just in business with him. I go by a business appraisal. If he says, hey, I think this is a good thing to go with, I'm going to go with them.
okay, so if your business partner's making $500,000 a year and he tells you, hey, dummy, here's your 40,000. I swear this is all you made. You're just taking it and saying, okay?
I'm not looking at everything. I mean, hey, it's not my
Okay.
fault.
So the well, I would represent to you the tax return, based on your testimony, 24,000 a year in straight rent. And if you're truthful and accurate about the overage, that'd be another 34,000. That's 58,000 a year. But y'all are claiming $75,000 a year in rent. There's no way it's 75,000 based on your testimony. Do you understand that?
No, I don't.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Y'all do business in the mall, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Is that a
what?
yes? Is that
Yeah.
a yes, Ms. Hernandez? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So what car expense would you have doing business in the mall?
What car expense?
Yeah.
Driving to work every day. What do you mean? Same as you, got to drive to work every day.
Okay, that's not tax deductible, sir. If you took that as a tax deduction, we have a different problem. What business expense is there? What expense to the business is there for your car? Because you're trying to tell this court that you didn't really get 116,000 because you had expenses. If you look on that same form that you provided that he's looking at, the goodness stack. That's another one. Y'all claim a deduction for car expenses.
Yeah,
Were you aware of
we're
that?
driving back and forth from Katy Mills to Beaumont.
Let me see what's in here. And you
So you
think
don't
that's a
charge your
business?
clients whenever you drive to Houston or Beaumont or anything, you don't charge your clients?
So you
don't-
think
don't
that's
write
a
that off
legitimate?
as a tax write-off? You telling me
You
that's not a
think-
tax write-off?
Okay, so what meals did the
What
company? pay
meals?
for?
I gotta eat every day, don't I?
So
I
y'all
gotta feed my
deducted
employees sometimes.
y'all deducted $1,800 for the year for meals, right?
I'm not sure.
Postage, what do you mail?
We mail off all our packages for anything that sells.
And it happened to come out to a flat even $1,200. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
What telephone do you have?
What do you mean, what telephone do I have?
Telephone expenses for the business. Is there a landline at the mall?
We have a landline and we have our own personals and we have our own business.
Does the business pay for your cell phone?
Yes.
Do you use your cell phone to call your mother?
What, for my personal phone?
Well, I asked you if the business pays for your cell
Not
phone.
my cell phone. I have a business phone
You have two
and my
cell
own
phones.
personal phone. Yes.
What are those two phone? Give me the last 4 digits of both those phone numbers, just the last 4.
97. Yes, I give you that.
2, 3.
1974 1272.
Which one's the business one?
1272.
And who did y'all pay labor to
For what?
for your business?
To do painting? Like what?
I don't know, for labor to run your business. Y'all took a deduction for labor. Who do you pay? What employees do you
And
have?
all our renovations that we done inside of the business.
Okay, do y'all have employees at the business, or are you and the
Yes.
other guy the employees?
Yes, we have employees.
How many employees?
At this location, 4 or 5.
How much do they make?
Different prices. I mean, they get different wage.
Do you get paid when you work up there?
Yes, 500 weekly.
And so what do you claim your income was for last year?
I'm not sure. I'd have to go look at the tax.
Sir, where do you live? What street?
In Beaumont off Major.
How much is your rent?
I think what, 12.
$1,200 a month?
Mm-hmm.
And you drive a Dodge Durango?
Yes,
How much is the note on that?
it was 5.
How much is your car insurance per month?
175, I think.
How much is the fuel for a month on your vehicle?
In a week is at least, yeah, I don't know. I put at least $60 a week, almost, maybe.
Okay,
It'll
so if I
last.
multiply that by 52 weeks a year and divide it by 12 months, that's about $260 a month.
I guess, I'm not sure.
Do you pay your own personal cell phone bill?
Yes,
How much is that per month?
well, I have other lines on it.
How many lines do you have on there?
2, 3.
Whose are those?
Mine's, my girl's, and a tablet.
How much is that bill per month?
I think 180.
180? How much are the utilities at the place you live?
I'm not sure. It fluctuates.
About average, approximate?
Sometimes the light bill's 300 itself.
Okay, so you say average 400 a month for everything?
No, because just the light bill sometimes itself is $300.
Okay, what other utilities do you have besides the light
Lights,
bill?
water, gas.
So probably on the average, because what's the lowest your electric bill is?
Like 100, maybe, I'm not sure. 150.
Okay.
170.
Let me get this. I'm sorry, Judge, I've got to move over to get this device plugged in. It's just draining fast.
No worries.
Okay, and so how much is your? How much do you, so I put 400 for average per month on utilities. How much for food each month?
I don't know.
Do you eat?
Yeah, do you eat?
Do you go to the grocery
Do you
store?
know
Hey,
your
Mr.
average?
Mr.
That's
Mr.
crazy.
Hernandez, hold on, Miss Shipley. Let's get this squared away. Mr. Hernandez, I need you to just answer the questions that are asked of you, okay?
I mean,
Don't get
gotcha.
smart with Miss Shipley. She's doing her job representing her client. You answer the questions, all right?
Yes,
If
sir.
Ms. Perazzo doesn't like a question that Miss Shipley asked, she can object to the question. Otherwise, I just need you to answer, okay?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Miss Shipley.
How much do you spend per month in food?
I guess 500. I don't know.
If you don't know, Mr. Hernandez, just say, I don't know. I don't pay them.
I don't know.
Do you buy the groceries at your house, Mr. Hernandez?
Yes.
You do.
I don't know how much I'm paying a month though. Like I'm not keeping up with a month. I go to the grocery store a lot.
Well, how much do you pay every week for groceries?
Sure, at least fucking
How much? What
at
did you say,
least
Mr. Hernandez?
at
Do
least,
you know where you are today?
sir.
If I hear that word out of your mouth again, I'm not going to let you testify.
Oh, I apologize.
Do not say the F word in my courtroom. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir. I apologize.
How much money do you pay a week in groceries? If you buy them, you should know.
At least 150, 175, maybe.
Thank you. Go ahead.
And so that's about $650 a month if I took 150 times 52 divided it by 12. Does your girlfriend live with you?
Yes.
Does she work?
No.
Does she get housing?
No.
Does she get food stamps?
No.
Do you have insurance on your other child that lives in your home?
I believe so. I'm not sure.
Is it Medicaid?
I'm not sure. I don't keep up with it.
You don't know how that child's insured. Okay. Do you ever pay medical bills for that child?
We haven't yet to go to, I guess, the hospital. I mean,
Okay.
we're not.
What other bills do you have does she have a car?
No.
Okay. So if I take just your $1,200 a month rent plus 400 for utilities plus 500 for your 500 for your car, plus 175 for your car insurance, plus 260 for your fuel, plus 180 for your cell phone account, plus 650 for your food, you're already at $33.65 per month, sir. Do you see that? And I haven't, do you smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol?
No.
Do you have any credit card debt?
Not that I know of. I mean, I don't know.
Do you have any loans you owe at the bank or any other place that you would owe a loan to?
No, not that I know of.
So by your testimony, if you're making 500 a week and you want the judge to believe that, that comes out to 2,400 a month, gross before taxes. But you just told me about your expenses, and your expenses are already more than $1,000 over that. So where's the rest of your income, sir?
Mr. Hernandez, I believe Ms. Shipley asked you, where's the rest of your income coming from?
No, I thought she was doing something.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
Ask your next question.
And didn't you recently go on a vacation, a little trip?
No.
Sir, when's the last time you were outside of the state of Texas?
I'm not sure.
When was the last time you went to California?
I don't know.
Did you go to California in the last 6 months?
No.
How many times have you been out of the state of Texas in the last 2 years?
For business, for inventory, at least 2-3 times.
Where do you go for inventory for your business?
Los Angeles.
And when's the last time you had to go get inventory in Los Angeles?
I don't know. It's been a while. They've been sending it through the mail.
And did your girlfriend go with you on the business trip?
No.
Mr. Hernandez, has she ever accompanied you to Los Angeles?
Yes.
Pass the witness. Oh, I'm sorry. Sir, how many times has this child spent the night in your home?
With or without her consent.
Either.
Just maybe 2 handfuls, maybe, to be honest, because I always got in trouble behind it, or he couldn't come over for a while because of it.
Okay. And how many times with her permission and consent?
Maybe twice.
Okay. And do you agree that your child has his own room at your parents' house?
Yes.
And do you agree with me that it's your parents who bother to pick him up on Fridays unless my client drops him off?
Yes.
And do you agree with me that y'all do Thanksgiving? Your mother does Thanksgiving in the morning every year for Thanksgiving.
No. I mean, we do Thanksgiving, but I mean, in the morning.
Well, I'm so sorry. Assuming that people eat a lunch meal and a dinner meal, your mother always does lunch and my client's family always does dinner. Is that accurate?
Okay.
Is that accurate?
Okay, yes.
And I apologize. I wasn't trying to imply breakfast. I'm sorry. But your mother does the earlier meal of the two during the day, correct?
I mean, it's a throughout the day thing. I mean,
Okay. So do you want your child at your mother's house for lunch every year for Thanksgiving?
I would love them there for all holidays.
Okay. And does it make sense that my client gets the dinner portion?
I mean, if that's the way that it has to go.
Okay. For Christmas, are you aware that normally y'all would alternate Christmas mornings under a court order? You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Is it true that your child has predominantly woke up at your parents' house on Christmas morning? Do you even know?
Say it again.
Sure. How many times have you been at your mom's house in the last 5 years on Christmas morning to see if your child was there to wake up or not?
I mean, I'm always there for Christmas morning, Christmas Eve morning, all depending on if he's there. If he's there the Christmas Eve, then I'm there Christmas Eve for him. If he's there Christmas Day, then I'm there for Christmas Day.
Do you think it's appropriate for my client to agree to a court order that allows your child to continue that same pattern and tradition to go to your mother's house on the night of the 24th and wake up there on the morning of the 25th and then come home to her house for Christmas?
So Christmas Eve, he'll be with my parents.
Yes. Is that what you would want?
I mean, if that's what it has to be.
Okay. And what are your work hours?
12 to 4, Monday through Sunday.
4 to 4?
12 to 4.
12 to 4. You just work 4 hours a day?
Every day.
Okay. And when you worked, before y'all opened this, you were in fact were you the manager or the assistant manager at Lids?
The assistant.
You never made manager.
No, I was assistant.
Okay, what does the assistant manager make at Lids back when you were there?
I believe it was 13.
Pass the witness.
Your witness, Ms. Braza.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Overstreet, do you have any other questions for Mr. Hernandez?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
You can call your next witness, Ms. Overstreet.
I don't have any further witnesses.
The state rest.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Shipley, do you have any witnesses?
Judge, give me just 1 second to see if there's any reason I need to recall my client. Yeah, I just need 1 second.
Take it.
Judge, we have no witnesses.
Ms.
We read
Braza, do you have any witnesses that you wish to call?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, I have questions. Let's get to this first part. Mr. Hernandez, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to show you something, and I want you to explain something to me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Hernandez, this is the income tax return for the business that you're partners in called the Vault. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Now, according to this that you filed with the Internal Revenue Service, it's not signed, but I assume that this is the official, or at least a copy of the official one that's filed with the Internal Revenue Service. Is that correct?
I believe so.
All right. So you have on this that your total gross earnings for your business was $461,497. Right?
Okay.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
All right. And then the very first deduction, obviously, is what it costs you to pay for the goods that you're selling, right? You see that?
Where?
Cost of goods sold, line 2, $228,861. You see that?
How do I move this people?
Oh, so on your screen, you just can't see. You don't have a copy of this income tax return in front of you?
No, sir.
All right, then you can't help me with that. All right, so you get a draw, Mr. Hernandez, every week from the company,
Yes, sir.
and you said that your draw is $500 a week.
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Shipley made a good point in her cross-examination of you. You testified that your bills are almost $3,500 a month. So you got to be making more money than just $500 a week, right?
I mean, I'm just starting to pay myself, sir.
You're just starting in 2022. Your own income was $40,000 from the business. That's more than $500 a week, Mr. Hernandez. Right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So in this 2022 income tax return, Mr. Hernandez, you and your partner alleged that there was $80-something thousand in gross profit that y'all split between the two of you, and that's where your $40,000 in income came from. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Where'd this other $116,000 go?
I didn't get to do the taxes. I didn't do them.
See, here's the problem, Mr. Hernandez. There's $116,000 missing here, and you can't give me any direction on what happened to it. So you know what I have to do? I have to impute that as your $116,000. That's what the law says. So unless you can give me some direction, Mr. Hernandez, to where this $116,000 is, it's yours. And it's going to be your income, and that's what I'm going to use to base your child support on. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Takes care of that problem. Now, Mr. Hernandez, how long have you been in business with your partner for this company called The Vault?
2020.
Okay, so for the last 3 years?
Yes.
Obviously, you weren't making as much money in 2020 as you did in 2021 or as you did in 2022, right?
Correct.
Have you seen a steady increase in your income, what y'all have been selling since y'all been at the mall?
Just this far this year, yes, sir.
Okay. But I mean, you might not have been making as much in 21 or is in 21 as you did in 22, but you made more money in 21 than you made in 20, right?
Definitely.
Okay. But again, this has been your best year so far.
Yes, sir.
And you anticipate that you'll continue to grow as long as you continue to offer the best new shoe incentives that are out there?
Yes, sir, if that's possible.
I've been in your store and I know what type of shoes it is that you offer. So I understand it's kind of the latest and greatest. It's kind of a trend situation, but you're hoping to stay with the trend and continue to grow your business. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I hope you do.
Thank you.
It's a good business and it's a good business model,
Thank you.
but shoes are risky. It's a risky business model, but it is one that can do well at. What year model is that Dodge Durango you're driving?
16.
Okay. And you said that your girlfriend that's living with you, she doesn't own a car.
No, sir.
She doesn't work in any way. She doesn't bring any income into the household.
I mean, not no more. I mean, she was at a point, but
Okay. But I mean, right now you're making enough money from the shoe business to support your family.
yes, sir.
That's fine. Back in the day, that used to be how it always was. It's just not like that anymore. Usually both people in the relationship work. All right. And you have a child with your girlfriend right now?
Yes, sir.
And how old is that child?
He just turned 5.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Hernandez, you stated when Miss Shipley was asking you some questions about your contact rights with the child, and I'm sorry, y'all, this is so terrible of me. Let me bring the lawsuit back up so I can see it. And that's Eric Tyler. This child is it just turned 7, right, Mr. Hernandez?
Say again?
The child just turned 7 back in December,
Yes.
right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you had some problems in your past, but you've kind of gotten your life back together for the last several years. But you said that you've had limited time with the child in your household.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, and you live in an apartment in Beaumont, Texas.
Yes, sir.
1 bedroom apartment, 2 bedroom, 3? How many bedrooms?
2.
2. So the people that live in your household with you are you, your girlfriend, and your 5-year-old child?
Yes, sir.
Does anybody else live in that household with you?
Yes, sir. His brother.
His brother. So
Yes.
there's another dependent with that child.
Yes.
That's your stepchild.
Yes, sir.
Well, not your stepchild. You and your girlfriend aren't married. I'm sorry. That's a very old school term, but I'm trying to get away from those. All right. So there's 4 people in that household.
Yes, sir.
All right. How old is your girlfriend's other child?
7.
All right. So he's the same age as Eric,
Yes.
or she is. I don't know, male or
Yeah.
female child, but that child's the same age as your son.
Yes, sir.
Is it a male child or a female
Yes, sir.
child?
He's a boy.
All right. So you have 3 male children.
Yes, sir.
One's is kind of your girlfriend's child.
Yes, sir.
So if I were to allow Eric to come to your apartment to stay with you on the weekends, where's he going to sleep?
With his brothers?
So 3 of them in the bedroom together?
Yeah, we all piled up. I know you remember piling up with your brothers and stuff. If you
I
have
do.
brothers. All right, you gotta relate with that.
I live with 6 people in a 40-foot travel trailer, but that's me. And we were together we were all together as a family. You and Miss Hooker do not live together. So she does have some say in what type of arrangement this is. So you think that there's plenty of room in this other bedroom for Eric to sleep?
Yes, sir.
Is he going to have his own bed, or is he going to be sleeping with another kid, or is he going to be sleeping on the floor?
No, we got bunk beds.
Okay. All right. And that's okay. I mean, that's what it is, Mr. Hernandez. But if he's got his own legitimate place to put his head down at night, that makes me feel a lot better.
Yes, sir.
All right. He's 7 today, Mr. Hernandez, but tomorrow he's going to be 7 plus another day. And in a year, he's going to be 8. Another year after that, he's going to be 9.
I know the time already fly. It's already flying on its own.
Pretty soon, that 1 bedroom's not going to be big enough for your 3 boys.
Oh, no. I don't. This is not a long-term thing. I'm just, like you said, I'm just trying to get this business kicked off the ground. And
well, it's doing well, Mr. Hernandez. Your business is doing well. It's retail, which is scary, but it is doing well. It's steady. That's what you want to see. Okay. You made a comment that kind of floored me a little bit, Mr. Hernandez. You said that the only time that you were allowed to have overnight weekends with Eric in your house was when you had to sneak it. There might have been 1 or 2 times that Miss Hooker allowed you to have him over there for the weekend, but most of the time it was just you sneaking Eric away from your grandparents, from your parents. And they may have agreed to let you take him for the
And
weekend.
definitely, we always agreed on that part. It's just, it was always an agreement. Don't let her know because she knows, and you already know he's not coming
Well,
over.
I'm not sure, Mr. Hernandez, you want to put that out for God and everybody, because Miss Hooker may not have a problem with your parents that she can't trust them to keep the child in place. But we're going to get that squared away because there's not going to be any more guessing. I'm going to create a court order today that's going to put a stop to all that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, don't thank me yet. You don't necessarily know what the ruling is going to be. When was the last time you had Eric at your apartment?
We had a party for my mother's son just a couple Sunday.
Okay. What about overnight?
Well, I mean, I haven't had him overnight in at least 6 months or more.
Okay. At your house?
Yes.
So this arrangement that Miss Hooker was speaking about, where Eric goes to stay with your parents and stays at their house on the weekend, then you just go over there and visit?
No, I pick him up and I take him until I guess before my parents go to sleep, and I bring them back.
Okay. And
Some
then he
nights
just
I bring them back a little late.
Right. If Miss Hooker has her way, then you'll just deliver your son back to your parents, and then you'll go home.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Miss Hooker, can you unmute?
Yes, sir.
Miss Hooker, up to this point in time, you've heard me ask Mr. Hernandez a lot of hard questions. Now it's your turn. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Miss Hooker, do you think that you have the sole voice in what happens with your son?
Yes, sir.
No, you don't. Nope, you don't have the sole voice. Mr. Hernandez is the father, and he has a voice too. And I think that's been part of the problem. And it may be that Mr. Hernandez has been the biggest part of the problem. He may have just given up at this point in time. But you don't have the sole control, Miss Hooker. You do not. Okay?
Yes, sir.
I do agree with about 90% of what Miss Shipley told me. And Miss Shipley might actually be surprised by that. But I do agree with most of what she said. But that's not Mr. Hernandez's fault. That's not Miss Hooker's fault. And it's certainly not Eric's fault. And I can't punish Eric.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do some of what Miss Shipley said, but we're not gonna do all of what Miss Shipley said.
Okay.
Anything further from the state in this case?
No, Your Honor.
Miss Shipley, is there anything else that you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
Anything else? No, Your Honor.
Miss Perazzo, is there anything else you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
No, sir.
All right, let's do the easy part first.
Wait,
No.
I'm sorry, Judge, there was one thing. We still did not obtain, and I know we're on YouTube, so maybe that's not it, but before he's excused, we don't have an address for Mr. Hernandez and have not been able to get one. So-
Well, it has to be in the court order. Non-disclosure is going to be denied, so it has to be there, Miss Shipley, but we'll make sure. While we're not on the internet, just remind me, Miss Shipley, when we go off the internet, and I'll make sure that gets out. All right, let's do the easy part first. The easy part is that it is certainly in Eric's best interest to name the parties as joint managed conservators, with Miss Hooker as the party with the right to establish the primary residence of the child, as per the local rule within Jefferson County or any contiguous county thereof. I don't like it, but I'm going to order Miss Hooker to maintain the health insurance that she has on the child. I haven't heard any evidence that there's any other source of health insurance for Eric except what Miss Hooker has for the child. But Mr. Hernandez is going to pay child support, and it's going to be based on the information that's been given to me in this income tax return. I'm going to impute that Mr. Hernandez's gross self-employed income is, I believe I calculated it $8,100 a month. Let me look back, make sure I got my numbers again. Yeah, $8,166 a month. That's his net, that's his gross self-employed income. He has one other dependent that he was certainly going to get credit for in his household. I got child support in the amount of handwriting gets worse and worse as I get older. My child support is $1,010 a month beginning May 1st of 2023 and every month thereafter until the emancipation of the child or further order of the court. The medical support will be $200 per month, also beginning May the 1st, $9,000 in retroactive child support. The $9,000 will be paid back at a rate of $100 per month, also beginning May 1st of 2023. Obviously, the court costs in this case, but I'll give Mr. Hernandez until October 31st of 2023 to pay my court costs. All right, so those are the easy things because that's just numbers. But let's talk about the visitation. Through no fault of his own, Mr. Hernandez has not had the child in his household overnight for a substantial period of time, for at least 6 months. However, Eric is not a child, and not an infant. I'll rephrase that and say that the child is not an infant. I'm not dealing with a baby. I'm dealing with a 7-year-old who's perfectly capable of telling his parents if there's some kind of issue that's popping up while he's visiting with either of his two parents. But I still think there needs to be at least a short period of time where before Mr. Hernandez just gets complete unfettered access to the child for his overnight visits for his weekends. So I'm going to do a short phased in visitation schedule, Miss Overstreet. There will be 0 supervised visitation. There will be 0 half-day visitations. I'm going to start the phased in visitation with full day visits. There will be 6 full day visits on Saturdays from 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., whatever it is, 8 or 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. When those full day visits are completed, then Mr. Hernandez will begin his overnight visits. He will have 6 one-night overnight visits. When those 6 one-night overnight visits are completed, then Mr. Hernandez will have standard possession. In regards to the visitation schedule for holidays, I'm just going to do standard. If the parties always know they have the right to work out something different if they wish to do so, the visitation is always as per mutual agreement first. But if no mutual agreement, then standard possession in regards to the holidays. And obviously the holidays and the will not begin until after the 12 phased in visits will be completed. So that's 0 plus 0 plus 6 plus 6. Does that take care of all the issues that are before me, Miss Overstreet?
Yes, Your Honor. And you didn't say it, but no non-disclosure, correct?
Yeah, that's denied. There's no evidence of
Okay.
non-disclosure.
And we do not have an address for Mr. Hernandez either, so we will need to get it.
We'll take
once
care
we're
of
off
that
the tube.
here in just a second. All right, does that take care of all the issues before me with the state's petition?
Yes, Your Honor.
As we established earlier, Ms. Shipley and Ms. Perazo, there are no counter petition on file from either of the other two parties. So as far as I know, those are the only legal remedies that I had to decide today. Ms. Shipley, Ms. Perazo, I'm absolutely certain that you're both going to want to review and sign this order before I sign it.
Yes, sir.
And you know what? I will tell you both. I probably told you both this a dozen times. I'm glad to see attorneys actually take the responsibility to review a court order before they send it to me for signature. You would both be surprised at the number of attorneys who are now just saying, no, judge, just sign it when you get it. We're not going to look at it.